Heroine rises.
There'll be an extra fee for that.
Squall Fury.
Huh. It's you two. What brings you here?
Shincho! Great, we found you! We wanted to ask you...
That's not a whole lot of information. I can't pinpoint her identity from your description alone. But consider...
Nameless Hero?
That's right. The novels often speak of a great drought from 50 years ago. As the people suffered, a nameless heroine appeared and began to clear away evil spirits and bandit camps. The people, all they knew was that she always acted alone. Later, though, she supposedly fell in love with a similarly noble-minded exorcist from Mount Tianheng. They were well matched in more ways than one, often fighting to get after the drought ended. The heroine and the exorcist left the public eye and began living a reclusive life in the mountains. All that remained, the way this nameless heroine faded from fame into obscurity later in life, is not too dissimilar from Miss Yuendai. I hope that's somewhat helpful.
Thanks a lot, Shincho. We knew it'd be worth it.
It's nothing at all. Just something I came across while reading. I did do a bit of extra research on her story, but...
Well, Paimon still thinks that's super cool. Oh, wait.
Let me think. In the novels, the nameless heroine always appeared near one of 3 places. Perhaps the real-life heroine who inspired the character was also often seen near those 3 places. That would explain why those locations appear in the various novels written about her. You're welcome. To be honest, I found some parts of the story confusing when I first came across it. If Miss Yuendai was indeed the original inspiration for... It's rare for a chivalric hero to fade into obscurity during their lifetime, even after retiring from the public eye. But no one ever saw or heard from the nameless heroine. I've never understood why someone would go to such lengths to erase themselves from public memory. It's almost as if she was trying to hide from...
We'll be sure to tell you if we manage to uncover...
That's a deal. Perhaps, behind the truth of it all...
Paimon feels like we just learned so much from Shincho. A drought, a nameless heroine, a life of seclusion... Oh, right! There's a drought in this story, too! Shincho, are droughts...
Well, they used to be. But people have long since developed methods, so while droughts do happen from time to time, they are rarely regarded as true disasters. The drought 50 years ago, the crops withered, the streams ran dry, and the monsters in the mountains became rabid and agitated. Countless caravans were attacked, and people who...
That sounds up?
Yeah, and that's exactly why the nameless heroine was so beloved. She must have been someone of true integrity, to do so much for the people. Still, as terrible as that drought was, it was nothing compared to the truly calamitous. They say that back in those days, disasters were both more severe and more common. Only the strongest of Adepti could hope to dispel the ruin and devastation. Do you have any other questions?
We're good for now. We're just going to head back and meet up with Miss Xianyan and the other. Paimon hopes that Granny Yuendai will be able to remember more of her past. She used to be a great hero who saved many people. So sad that she can't recall. Anyway, we'll be off now. See you some other time, Shin.
It's no problem at all.
But you didn't let me finish.
too slow. The wind rises.
I have recorded the tune that you requested. I hope it will be of help to you.
Oh, thank you. Straight word, Ping. What has amused you so?
Oh, it's no serious matter. I was just reminiscing about the last time I saw you in this form. Time has wrought such change in this world, and yet you appear just the same as ever.
Time has little bearing on one's existence, nor has one keenly felt its effects whilst dwelling at Mount Outsong. Nevertheless, Ping, one would like to seek your counsel on a personal matter.
Oh, why so formal all of a sudden? I must say, you're making me a little nervous. What is it?
Well, the inquiry is as such. Approximately how much more would one need to afford a comfortable life in the harbor, not unlike the one that you yourself lead?
It does not require as much as you may think. Still, do you mean that...
Cloud Retainer, Madam Ping! What are you two talking about?
Nothing save for some trivial matters. Have you unearthed any useful details?
Shinto has a theory, but let's save it for when Chuyu and Miss Yundai have joined up with us again.
Do not be troubled, young lady. Here, have some tea.
Thank you so much. What do you think, Chuyu? Does it match up with what you know of your granny?
According to the story, the nameless heroine eventually fell in love with an exorcist from Mount Tianheng. Maybe... I don't have many memories of him, but there was this one time I found a box in her attic full of a bunch of weird sigils. I think so too. Granny might remember something once she's returned to a familiar place.
What marvelous tea. I can taste the dews. It's as if I was taking a stroll in the mountains, thoroughly one with nature and at peace.
Is that so? Then please drink as much as you like. There's no need to hurry. At our age, it's always nice to slow down and take the time to appreciate pleasant conversation among...
Thank you.
Okay, since we have the time,
Sure thing. What would you like to...
I have a secret I want to tell you.
What's wrong, Chuyu?
Well, I've been kind of meaning to ask ever since we started talking in the restaurant, but are you guys all adepti in disguise?
Oh! About that.
Well, you guys just seem super special. Plus, I think I might have heard Miss Shen Yun call herself an adeptus.
Oh, must have been a slip of the tongue. Xianyun, since you were the one who, misspoke, maybe you can explain to Chuyu.
One is indeed an adeptus. Is that of some concern to...
I knew it. Well, one time when I was a little kid, I saw a pure white illuminated crane. I had this super high fever, and Granny wasn't around. I was feeling all icky and gross. She put me on her back and flew me to her cool adeptus house and fed me some sort of magic potion. When I woke up, I was already back in my bed, and I really wanted to thank her, but I was too sleepy to stay awake, so I just kind of wanted to ask if maybe...
A pure white illuminated crane? The only two we've ever met are blue and white and black and brown. Have you ever met one that's pure white?
Never has one met an Adeptus with such features. One surmises such a description is but a hyperbolic embellishment that oft results from
That's weird. Was it really just a dream then? Well, even if it was just in my head, it doesn't matter that much anyway. All I really want is to help Granny recover her memories.
Leave it to us! Now that we know the 3 locations, we just need to visit them. Let's go to Wangshu Inn first.
Okay.
Wangshu.
Do you remember this place, Granny?
Yes. The fish here is very delicious. And if you look out into the distance, I believe I used to have a room here. It had a window. Yes.
I'll come with.
Paimon's still having some trouble understanding what she's talking about, but if she's so familiar with this place, that must mean she lived here, right? Wait. Huh? Whoa! Shell! What are you doing here all of a sudden? You scared the living daylights out of Paimon!
I sensed a non-human presence and decided to come take a look. If you're here, then there's likely no trouble afoot. I suppose there's no cause for concern. It's been a while, Cloud Retainer. I see you have returned to your previous form. I have indeed. I fought alongside her in this form on many occasions during the Archon War.
Oh, wow! What was she like during the war? Oh, wait, let Paimon take a guess. Was it anything like this?
Behold, the glory of one's newest invention, the Bang Bang Continuous Fire Mechanism. Hands up and surrender, or be prepared to face the full might.
An impressive imitation.
Paimon knows her all too well.
Even so, Cloud Retainer was not always as ostentatious as you describe. You may be unaware, but her talent with Adepti Sigil, the Archon War reached its peak after Guizhong's death. The Cloud Retainer who fought beside me in those devastating battles was taciturn and solemn.
A Cloud Retainer who barely talks? Paimon can't picture it. But what happened after that? If you were so powerful and...
Once one had bid farewell to the world of mortals, what use would one still have for such a shape? When dwelling between mountain and forest, away from the struggles and troubles of the mortal world, a mortal form is hardly the most fitting of choices.
After the war, Cloud Retainer retired to Mount Outsong, only revealing herself to the occasional visitor. And although I do believe there was an occasion some 30-odd years ago, when she decided to don her human form.
One believes there is little need to relive bygone matters.
Granny, are you okay?
Back then, at this...
Perhaps this conversation should end here. I shall take my leave now. Should you encounter any trouble, you need only call my name. However, given that you are traveling with Cloud Retainer, I trust you are in good hands.
Everyone! I think Granny is finally beginning to remember her past.
Slowly now, calm your mind and recount what has been recalled.
A long time ago, I stayed here to recuperate from my illness.
Huh. So what Shinto said was true! You did fall ill! Was that why you went into hiding?
I don't remember. I'm very sorry, but I can't even remember the name of my illness. I was confined to my room in Wangshu Inn, where I spent many days unconscious. I'd come to every once in a while and stare at the migrating birds outside the window. One day, I met a traveling merchant. Upon hearing of my illness, He sold me a bottle of soul-revitalizing tea pill. He told me that the pills were concocted using adepti blood and could be used to alleviate my symptoms. Sure enough, I made a full recovery. My illness
Wait, but if your illness remained dormant for several decades, are you saying that what you're going and it was all thanks to the pills that you managed to keep the symptoms in check?
I'm sorry, I don't.
Hey, you're not useless. You've done so much for me. Watch me.
Oh, fret not, dear child. Granny...
The recovery of a person's memories is a gradual process. Finding pieces of...
Next location. There isn't really a landmark there, so where should we start? Oh, after all, if she was there for any length of time, then she would have stayed somewhere, right? Oh, Paimon's really got her thinking cap on today.
I don't remember this. Still, I was thinking.
Huh? What?
I'm not sure. Maybe it's because...
I don't remember playing it that much. Are you sure about that, Granny? We only played it.
Ah, is that...
Not here then.
Quit following. The wind rises.
Paimon sees an abandoned house. Why don't we take a break over there?
This place...
Did you remember something, Granny?
I remember. Shuyu. It was a moonless night. I had been injured, so your grandpa was supporting me. We fled together with some being in the fog behind us in hot pursuit. I had exhausted my strength when the labor pains came on, so we took refuge in this house. I remember that night. I remember falling to mine. I alone am the source of this sin. Punish me as you wish for...
Sin? Oath? Did you do...
I don't know. I don't remember. I only remember praying in the darkness with... Eventually, the house was filled with the sound of my baby's first cries. That baby was your father.
My dad?
He was my pride and joy, and so are you, Shuyu. But you're always going to be different from me. I
don't care what you might have done, Granny. You'll always be the person...
You're too sweet, Shuyu. I'm lucky to have you with me. If not for you... All right. Let's not stand around any longer.
If one recalls correctly, the next place should be Qingyun Peak. Yuandai, how fares your health?
I may be a bit slow, but I'll do my best to keep up. I'm sorry to keep everyone waiting.
Climb on. I shall carry you to the top. Oh, such lightness of weight.
All those who grow old grow frail in the end, do they not? First, you lose your memory, then your health. Eventually, you end up losing everything. My only wish is to depart this world with a lucid mind, to free myself of this torment and the burden it places upon others.
Fret not. You have my aid in this endeavor.
Squall and Fury.
We're finally here. Does this place feel familiar?
Let me see. How strange. Have I... When we were at Wangshu Inn and the abandoned house earlier, though I couldn't remember everything, I still felt a sense of familiarity. But here, I don't have that feeling. Perhaps I did come here in the past, but it just didn't leave a strong impression on me.
But did the stories get it wrong then? Yeah, that's true. But they're also the only Paimon was hoping this place would jog Granny Uendai's memory, just like the...
I'm sorry to disappoint you too.
It's alright. We're not going to give up yet. We'll figure something...
Thank you. If all... Huh? That way. What's that mountain?
Oh, let Paimon look! Huh? Isn't that Mount Outsong? Looks like we've come full circle.
Mount Outsong. Mount Outsong.
Granny, are you okay? Don't push yourself, Granny. It's okay if you can't...
Mount Outsong, What am I really?
Mount Outsong holds some familiarity to you?
It does, but I can't go back.
Are you feeling unwell?
My head... It feels all heavy and dizzy.
Cloud... Miss Xianyun, is there anything you can do?
Let us go to Mount Outsong.
But...
Fret not, all will be well. You may leave the rest to me. I've prepared something that can aid you in suppressing the fear in your heart.
Wait, really? When did you do...
I never leave anything to chance. Here, this is it.
Huh? But isn't this the mechanism that you were tinkering with when we first
Precisely. A recent one at that. I am most pleased with the result. I call it the Suspensus Somnium mechanism. It periodically releases a soft breeze, which when paired with a gentle adeptal tune, can help the listener soothing agitation and anxiety, relieving exhaustion and insomnia. It's potential.
Whoa, what a cool gadget! But if we could have come to Mount Outsong right off the bat and saved time on a
How preposterous. Had Yuendai not recalled much of her past through her own efforts, the device would have nothing to draw upon. We Adepti can only help those who first resolve to help themselves. Had she lacked such determination and strength of character, one would have little...
Paimon thinks she gets it now.
As previously mentioned, a gentle adeptal tune is required to take full advantage of the mechanism. One secured such a tune from Streetward Rambler. Only with her melodies can the mechanism reach...
Whoa, Paimon can feel what you mean! Paimon's body feels light.
And you, Yuendai, is the It appears she has already succumbed to the depths of reverie. Come, join...
The drought is over. But why do you look like you want to cry?
The potion. It's nearly run its course.
I've never regretted meeting you. Not even for a second.
Please. Please, no. Have you forgotten? This is the world you left behind. One of gentle breeze and morning dew, perfectly straddled betwixt the realms of heaven and earth. This is your home. This is where you belong. You should have never left. The you of the past, the me from not that long ago, we should have never.
So that is the truth. No wonder this place is so familiar.
Granny! Granny, are you
Cloud Retainer.
Your memories have returned?
Wait, did you just call her by her You already knew each other?
Yes. I now remember everything. Everything.
Granny, please don't cry.
Oh, don't worry, my dear child. Granny is I'm so sorry, everyone. You've gone to so much trouble and it's all come back to me now. The most important thing that I had forgotten was the truth of what I once was.
One can sense the guilt that now plagues your conscience. Reclaiming a truth long buried is sure to come with a myriad of
No, it's okay. Now that I've remembered, I must face my memories head on. Shuyu, everyone, I cannot thank you enough.
Please, Granny, don't force yourself. What happened in the past doesn't
I know, dear child. My feelings for you are some time ago. I made a terrible mistake.
Is this the sin that you mentioned in Dwayun Karst?
I am, in truth, not a human being. My real form, one that I held for centuries, was that of a wild crane. I spent many, many years living on Mount Outsong, bathing in the soft breeze and drinking the sweet dew of the mountains. At some point, I somehow gained wisdom and sentience. The Lord of the Mountain, Cloud Retainer, though she never took me on as a formal disciple, I always saw her as my master. Whenever she took out her tools to work on mechanisms or new inventions, I would also stand next to her and watch. I even contemplated completing my training and becoming an adeptus in my own right. I followed her teachings, and time gradually passed us by. Until that fateful day 50 years ago.
50 years ago?
That's right. Master regaled me with many stories of her past deeds. From them, I learned how she had saved people from a similar crisis in the past. She was the one I looked up to the most. More than anything, I dreamt of becoming an adeptus like her. I wanted to travel the land like she had, relieving suffering wherever I went. But I was still far from being a real adeptus. I possessed no ability to take on human form and fit in with the crowd. Once she learned of my desires, Master prepared a special dose of human mimicry potion for me. She warned me that the potion's effects would only last 10 years, and if I were to fail to return to my original form at the end of that time, I would forever forget my past as a crane and become something neither human, beast, nor adeptus.
Oh no. So that was the source of your dementia all along.
Was it because of
Indeed, I fell in love. Though he was human, he had spent his entire life training on Mount Tianheng. When we met, it was not only my first foray into the world below, but although clumsy and impulsive as he was, you'd think he was the real strange bird among the two of us. But still, just like me, he cared deeply about the world and wanted, more than anything, I could not help but fall for him. But my time continued to tick away. Those 10 years passed by in a flash. Yet, I did not want to leave his side, so
Oh no. What happened?
I committed an offense. I wanted to stay with him, even if it meant living a life full of pain and suffering, even if it meant that I would eventually turn into a monstrosity. I knew I had betrayed Master's hopes, but I was too ashamed to face her. So I wrote her a long letter instead and asked someone to leave it outside her abode. I was convinced that she would not support my decision, and I lacked the courage to speak to her face to face. In my shame, I fled and tried, but that was only the beginning of my troubles. I began to suffer from a strange illness. My memories became hazy and confused, and I could no longer keep myself awake. Along with my memories as a crane, I soon forgot the true cause of my suffering as well. I knew only that I had committed a sin. All I could do was pray for forgiveness. Even looking back, I was beyond lucky to have come across that traveling merchant at Wangshu Inn. It was such a fortunate coincidence that we were there at the same time. If it weren't for those soul-revitalizing tea pills, I probably would have...
Granny? What's wrong?
Coincidence? Why did I ever think it was a coincidence? Tea pills concocted using the blood of an adeptus? No, Master. Don't tell me. Back then, that merchant was...
Human custom would dictate the conferral of gifts to be in order when one's progeny is wedded, would it not? Consider the pills a symbol of one's best wishes.
So when I tried to conceal my name and mistakes from the world and hide myself away in perpetuity, the only person I managed to deceive was myself. You knew where I was all along.
One still remembers when you were but a fledgling. You possessed a certain fondness for a particular game. You would hide yourself among a group of wild cranes and ask one to pick you out from among the flock. One found you with such ease every time. 'Tis a truth most evident. One always recognizes one's own, no matter what form they may take.
Wait! Paimon's confused. So, Cloud Retainer, you found Yuendai again? But how? When?
Perhaps it is now time for one to recount the rest of the tale. One was furious upon receiving your letter. Seized with anger, one set out to bring you to your senses. Skyward! Hit! In truth, one had more than a few misgivings about your chosen partner. As an exorcist, his talent was lacking. One could hardly say his skill with sigils was any better. But soon, one came to appreciate the devotion he bestowed upon you during your illness. He never uttered a complaint and rarely left your side. Unwilling to begrudge someone of such character, one decided to overlook his aforementioned deficiencies. Glaring though they may have been, wishing to grant you a life without regrets, one gathered many divine ingredients and used one's own blood to create a form of medicine. Though imperfect, it managed to suppress the more dire effects of your illness. As for how to deliver the medicine, after much contemplation, one eventually decided to perform the deed oneself. One took great care to alter one's features and select the appropriate attire. Only after meticulous scrutiny did one finally set out. As one expected, you were most ignorant of one's true identity. One was quite torn. Should one have celebrated the success of one's disguise, or mourn the loss of your acquaintance? Skyward! Scatter! Nevertheless, one would speak to you about another matter, if you are amenable, even considering your loss of memory. One was simply flabbergasted that you could so easily forget the consequences of consuming medicine infused with adeptal blood. Its proclivity to attract monsters is hardly that complicated of a concept to remember. To think that you tried to travel while weak from sickness and heavy with child. Had one not intervened to clear the fog, all of you would have been lost during the night. Skyward! Skyward! Scatter! the Adeptus! Skyward! Yeah! Ha! Skyward! Inconsequential! Those monsters would hardly have pursued you with such ferocity without sufficient incentive. They were likely incited by the sad godly remains. One was, after all, an active participant in the Archon War. Some of the gods were likely shattered by contraptions of one's very... In the end, one was relieved to see you endure through the night. At the break of dawn, one heard an infant's cry pierce through the air, and one saw you carefully cradle the child to your chest. Although certain to see you happy, that was more than enough. Now you should have a complete understanding of the events.
Wait. But if that's true, then the crane who took care of me when I was sick must also be...
Ah, one had almost neglected to recount the absurdities of that tale. Just as you and I troubled one with her antics, so did you give one many a headache. Upon finding you burning with fever, one made plans to bring you back to one's abode for treatment. However, upon seeing one's form, you began to cry, refusing to get on one's back. When one asked you why, apparently you believed that one could not possibly be a true Adeptus, because all illuminated cranes are white from tip to... One had no choice but to apply powder to one's body to conceal the variegated nature of one's appearance. You became more than amenable enough when one stood before you devoid of any other coloring. It bears mentioning, however, that as a crane, Yuendai was nearly entirely pure white in color. Though you had never encountered her in that form, you still recognize the essence of her being. Perhaps fate brought you two together in more ways than one. Now all has been revealed. One owes you an apology, Yuendai. One recognized you upon your very entrance into Wanmin Restaurant. One has always viewed you as a disciple of equal standing with Ganyu and Shenhe. Indeed, one wished to bring your story to a satisfactory end with this visit to Liyue Harbor. Still, one could not reveal your identity right away. Had one simply informed you of all you had lost, all those cherished memories would merely have become the fictionalized account of another. Memories are most meaningful when recalled by those who live through them. Would you not agree? Even if the process was painful and arduous to experience.
Master, I must ask. If you found me all those years ago, why did you leave me be, even though you knew about my mistake? Why did you not bring me back to Mount Outsong by force?
One has never regarded your action as a mistake. It was a simple choice, nothing more. When it is time for one's progeny to leave the nest, it is the responsibility of an elder to let them fly free. Yet, when your wings grow weary and the night grows dark, just know that you always have a place to which to return. 'Tis a refuge referred to by many a name in mortal writing. Home, nest, haven. Whatever its denomination may be, its essence remains quite unchanged. One speaks, of course, of a place not unlike one's own abode. One's disciples are free to come and go as they wish. Yet the door remains forever open to those who wish to return. One rather hopes you count yourself among them.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You and I. One expects you too have sensed the rapid deterioration of your condition as of late. Have you not? 40 years ago, you chose a path without a future. Though one used one's own blood to provide you with a few decades of extra time, it merely delayed the inevitable. Even the power of an Adeptus has its limits. Had your condition continued to deteriorate, you would have forgotten your life as a human entirely. Fortunately, you were able to avoid that scenario by reclaiming your memories. Though one sped the process along by providing...
So, what's gonna happen to Granny?
One will help her reclaim her original form as a wild crane. If it be fated, she may recover her sentience one day.
She's gotta go back to being a regular crane, huh?
Master, you've already done more than enough for me. I don't know how I could possibly repay your kindness. This is a better...
Not long. The transformation is imminent.
Granny, please don't leave, okay? You're all I have left. Please.
Don't be sad, dear child. Granny has led a wonderful life. My only regret is having to leave you behind. Don't forget to eat well, okay? A growing young lady like yourself needs lots of good food to grow big and strong. Promise Granny you'll take good care of yourself when I'm gone.
I promise, Granny. I'll do whatever you say.
Good girl. Good girl. Don't worry. It's not goodbye forever. Granny's gonna become the most formidable crane in all of Mount... I won't stop until I can turn into a human without having to rely on anything but my own power. When that day comes, we'll be able to live together again. You and I. How's that sound? That's a good girl. Even though we won't see each other for a little while, as long as we both work hard...
I'll eat well, Granny. I promise. And I'll wait for you, no matter how...
That's a good girl. Then Granny really has no more regrets. I'm so sorry, Master. Thank you for everything.
You.
Let her be. At her age, crying is a natural, if not fitting, response to such an event. Tears are a necessary part of maturation. Sometimes there is scarcely a better vehicle to wash away the toll of stress. Now that the issue has been resolved, you should also take a moment to relax. Give yourself some time to rest. Take a nap if you must. One will wake.
I always believed we would see each other again, that our days of separation would finally end, and all my troubles would be behind me. If only things could stay this way forever.
A nightmare? curious. If you're relaxed, shouldn't your dreams be pleasant?
It was a good dream. It's just...
You weren't ready to wake up. Eloquent as one may be, words of comfort are not one's strong suit. You are doing all you can. One can see your strength of will, your fearlessness in the face of danger. And so, whatever your dream may be, one believes that you shall achieve it. Of course, whenever the perils you face overwhelm you, or you become weary, one is always here for you. After all, as an elder, it is only right to look out for the young ones.
Was Paimon sleeping just now? Oh. Oh, Paimon wasn't talking to you. Paimon had a dream about...
Madam Adeptus?
Oh, Shuyu, you're awake. How do you feel?
I feel a little better. Thanks. I know I'll see Granny again someday, so I don't feel so sad anymore. Madam Adeptus, could I ask you something? Would you take me in as a disciple?
Oh, and have you reasons for this sudden interest?
I know Granny thought what she did back then was wrong. She felt really bad about it. Without that mistake, I would have never been born. Even though Granny lost her memories, she never forgot to show me how much she loved me. So, I thought maybe one day I could become a cool Adeptus like you and help a whole bunch of people, just like Granny wanted to do.
Upon some reflection, one supposes you are no mere mortal. The fact that Yuendai's blood flows through your veins is proof enough of that. If this is what you desire, one shall make it so.
Thank you so much, Madam Adeptus. No, I mean... Master.
Shuyu, are you sure about this? Paimon's gonna let you in on a little secret. We've seen Cloud Retainer's 2 other disciples, and they pretty much eat nothing but bitter herbs like Chinchin and violet grass. If you join them, you'll never enjoy One Min Restaurant's delicious cooking ever again.
How utterly preposterous. One has never enforced such a rule. Every individual must find their own path to enlightenment. So long as one retains a pureness of spirit, one's dietary proclivities are quite irrelevant.
Well, you say that, but Paimon's not seeing any tasty treats up here now, is she?
Although Mount Outsong is rich in natural beauty, its location does preclude access to certain finer mortal comforts. That is precisely why one plans to relocate to Liyue Harbor. Shuyu shall have the honor of becoming one's first disciple in the human world.
Whoa! You're leaving Mount Outsong?
One has never concerned oneself with the location of one's residence. From the very beginning, one has sought only solace, yet in the end, all of one's disciples ended up in Liyue Harbor. Ganyu, Shenhe, Yuendai, they all chose a life among the mortal world. One has reflected on this fact for many years now. One can only assume that it is due to some failing on one's part as an elder or master. A failing, perhaps, of recognizing what it was. One is most curious as to what aspect of Liyue Harbor could have enticed them to remain there. One could hardly offer an opinion on the matter, but perhaps... Why are you all so silent?
Paimon is... just a bit shocked, that's all.
One has precious little time to squander. However, if one finds oneself, one will be assuming the identity of a human while residing in Liyue Harbor. You should take care to avoid disclosing one's true identity.
Don't worry, we'll help you keep it a secret. So, when can we expect to start seeing you in the city?
Perhaps in 2 days' time. One has some matters to see to before one's departure. Preparation is the key to success, after all. One plans to put up various items from one's collection for sale. The earnings should provide for one has already picked out a handsome property near Chuhu Rock. 'Tis no small purchase, but what is mortal life if not one expense after another?
Seems like you've really thought of everything. Then how about we meet up in Liyue Harbor in 2 days?
A sensible plan. See you then. Oh, also, why don't you take this suspensus somnium mechanism as a souvenir? Anytime you should feel ill at ease in the future, you may try quieting your mind and sitting in meditation as you listen to its melodies. It might help you find a new perspective.
Awesome! Thanks, Cloud Retainer! Hey, didn't we promise Shincho that we'd tell him what we found out? Should we make a trip to the Feiyun Commerce Guild? It's totally up to you.
Solidify!
I see everything!
On repeat.
Stabilize!
Hey!
My royal
Everyone hold
Oz, reveal thyself. Myself.
I see everything!
Solidify! Gather! Solidify!
Shadow Raven.
taste the same as I remember.
Add at. Thank you for.
Into the wind! Fallen leaves, adorn my night!
Settle down!
Clouds high. The birds call. One with nature.
Bow your head.
Into the wind. The wind rises. Fallen leaves, adorn my night!
Silence!
One with nature. Squall fury.